Woof. There's going to be days like this, I guess. Vikings become unhinged versus the Ravens. 3 turnovers, 13 penalties. They dropped to 4-5 after the 27-19 defeat. Luke Inman here at Luke_Spinman. All your instant reaction you can handle. But first, let's meet the crew.
Oh, sorry. False started. Can you go back, Luke?
You like that?
Got Ron.
It got me. I'm waiting for the flag. Ron Johnson, former Gophers, the NFL wide receiver. And hey, at least Rashad Bateman got to come back to Minnesota and kind of roll the boat for a 2-point conversion.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Viking Squad Show. All the instant reaction deep dive you can handle, including the turnovers, the penalties, what else went wrong today against the Ravens, plus the biggest turning point in this one. We got our players of the game, stock up, stock down, what we loved, what we hated. Lots to get into. But before we get into it, thanks so much for making the Viking Squad Show your first listen of the day. And thanks for making Locked On the #1 podcast network around. After you check out this episode, go check out this guy right here, Luke Braun, pumping out all your daily content over on Locked On Vikings. Ron, just to kick things off here, bet and lead off. Vikes on top of the world after you go into Detroit, knock off the Lions, get back to 500 in J.J. McCarthy's first game back as well. It just kind of felt like a weird hangover game, I guess. I mean, they couldn't do anything right. 3 turnovers, 13 penalties, 8 false starts, I think I counted. Maybe missed one at the end. That's almost unheard of to do at home, by the way. As you watch this thing unfold, though, what was like the #1, #2 things on your mind as the Vikings drop back to 4-5?
Yeah, so when you look at the one turnover with Zay Flowers, or sorry, not Zay Flowers, but why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Price?
The returner. Miles Price, actually 2, thank goodness they recovered the second one. That could have been 4 turnovers. So that one that you can't put on the offense, that's just, going through, trying to make a play, fumble the ball. And then in the stadium, though, and I don't know what the TV copy looked like, when they replayed that 3 to 4 times, it actually looked like his shoulder hit. And then the ball came out. But, they didn't give us enough of it. I don't know if you guys saw that on the replay. So we were all...
It was bang, bang, but it was out.
Okay, because everybody was booing as if they should have reviewed it one more time, or Kevin O'Connor should throw a red flag. And, they're giving the whole, like, hey, this is booth assist. They already looked at it. Coach, no need to challenge it. So we're all in the stadium like, what the heck is going on? But the 2 interceptions, honestly, that's just Kevin O'Connor biting off more than he can chew. 2nd and 1, run the ball. The one play action, deep ball. Justin Jefferson, yes, he gets tangled up with 44 and kind of steps on his leg. And so that's inadvertent. That's not a purposeful trip. So there's no flag there. And then the other one, he tried to run like a out and up. And again, or a post corner post. I don't think he realized the second guy was standing there. So then it's him and the 2 guys kind of bumped. He kind of like just went off. No, it was out and up because he kind of just kept running as if he thought it was going to come over his shoulder. And McCarthy had to let it go down the middle of the field. And Jefferson kind of slow rolled it. And then he realized like, oh, wait, the ball's in the air. And so turnovers killed them, but it wasn't just the turnovers. And you go with the procedural penalty. So every single time we saw a yellow flag drop, everybody, even the Ravens staff, because they were sitting over there, Chad Steele was sitting over there to my right, and he and I were joking around about that. Like it was almost like the Vikings had come off a bye week. Like there's no reason to have that many procedural penalties. 2 of them, I will say, I think Kevin O'Connor was trying to go fast and JJ McCarthy tried to can and kill the play. But if you're going to kill a play going fast, you have to say something like easy, easy, easy. So let the guys know, okay, just relax. I'm going to kill this and I'm getting to something else. Because the minute he came to the line, he said nothing. And then you just saw him go to the helmet with the can, and everybody moved. So I think there's something there too with like the procedural ability to like get out of a play. But if you're going to get out of it, there's got to be a trigger word to let the offense know, hey, we're not going fast anymore. So the first sound is not me wanting the ball. The first sound is me killing it. So it's kind of like a easy, easy, easy. And you say that right away the minute the front doesn't look right. But yeah, I don't know what was going on, but it was just they kept getting backed up, couldn't get out of their way. McCarthy ended up almost throwing for 250 yards. So that was good to see. But again, it was way too much play action.
Braun, Macho Meach. I want Braun to unleash on someone. This offense is an abomination. Do your thing. Stay on brand, brother.
No. Part of my brand is just always doing whatever Macho Meach doesn't want me to do.
True. Yep.
But here's the thing, like compared to like the problems of the Atlanta game and stuff, I think this is more akin to what you expect with like what Ron just described with like that snap count thing. Okay, that's a lesson you can now go and learn over the week, and hopefully that never happens again. And like I walked into this game wanting them to not have the problems they had in Detroit of like, the running back going the wrong way. They're getting the play calls right in the huddle and all that. Okay, now you have a snap cadence problem. Now you got to deal with that. And you're playing whack-a-mole with a young quarterback and young quarterback problems. I kind of say, okay, if this is something that is happening year 3 or year 4, right, then you've got a bigger problem, but we're in our 4th start and those kinds of things are fixable. The problem is it is November. And I don't think you can put all this false start crap on the quarterback. At a certain point, you have to get your team's business together. And they almost blew the game, by the way, screwing up a substitution again. They almost blew the game on that punt right at the end before that last drive. It would have been a 12-man on the field penalty, which would have given the Ravens a first down. They would have been kneeling just because they couldn't get on and off the field fast enough. That kind of operational stuff. And because the false starts happen for so many different reasons, it's not like, Laramie Tunsil false starts 5 times and you go, okay, that guy's clearly got something wrong. We got to figure it out. No, it's like the first one happens for one reason and then another, and then a guy just flinches and then the cadence isn't right. And it's like all this. Why is your team so disorganized? So to me, this goes all the way to the top. And Kevin O'Connell, horrible day to forget. There's some play calls I'm sure we'll talk about too. But ultimately, your job is to get your team organized. And if you have a young quarterback, you got to put him in the right place to do what he needs to do for that too. And the Vikings have been horribly disorganized all year. And by the way, these problems all were still happening with Wentz in there too. And he's a 10-year vet. So I'm sorry, coaches, figure out how to get your team to the line and communicate what they are supposed to do. 31 teams can do this. You consistently have not been able to. So I have serious questions about Kevin O'Connell right now.
Let me go back to you, Ron, to Luke's point. Like, the good news is a lot of fixable stuff on paper, on tape, right? Self-inflicted.
Like, that's a Monday
moves.
Conversation and it's over.
Yeah, 100%. So
it's a Sunday night text message. I mean,
yeah, right.
right.
They're talking about it right now.
Yeah, like it's a group chat. Like, hey, look, man.
Like, hey, you got to say easy when you go into when we're in no huddle and you want to change the play. He goes, oh, okay. And then that's the end of the problem forever.
But at what point, Ron, like Luke said, it's November 9th right now. This is week 10 of the NFL season, 2025. What are we doing? Like, how fixable, I guess, is it? Because we're going to sit here. It's a Sunday text message conversation, like you said. But if you haven't figured it out by week 10, I guess, what do you do? Go back to the drawing board or speaking to a guy who's been in the NFL, what do those conversations look like? And then how do the Vikings specifically, who seem to be just week in and week out, really struggling with the mundane stuff, go fix this thing on the fly?
Well, so one, the fact that they threw that bubble screen to Justin Jefferson, the one-on-one bubble screen, was kind of cool to see that he could actually do that. Hey, come up, you see one-on-one. If he's playing off, just get it out to JJ right now. JJ, release wide. That gives you an angle on that DB. Go get us 9 to 10 yards. The fact that they can do that, but they don't motion and shift in some of these situations to try to figure out, okay, if Jets is one-on-one like this, let's just keep doing it till they play them close, and then let's go deep. Oftentimes, if he's doubled or bracketed, he's running routes across the middle and it's throwing it off. But back to your question with that. So if you can do that, instead of going no huddle or quick or tempo, but then you have, like, you're not in a tempo type of offense, meaning you should have 3 to 4 receiving options out there. Like, they should be spread out a little bit. Like when you watch Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, when they went Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, they had Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews all out away from him. He was able to kind of see the motions and shifts and then figure out what coverage Brian Flores was going to be in. I talked to one of the Ravens guys, of course, because that was my former team. So I went down there and talked to them, and I kind of brought up. I'm like, hey man, Brian Flores, blah blah, Dolphins era. He was giving Lamar Jackson fits, and they're like, yeah, Lamar couldn't throw as well as he can throw now, and so I think that was part of it too. I think he came in thinking like, hey, like he's not going to make a layered throw. He's not going to. Man, he had touch. He had teardrop throws. He had throw it right over a guy's hand. He had super calm and confident, like Steph Curry shoot a 3, turn your back after you let it go type of throws. And it was crazy to see that he could do that on that side. And then the Vikings, for some reason, couldn't get it figured out. But that's like JJ McCarthy. I mean, I kept hearing on the broadcast because I had one ear, with the broadcast going, just kind of hear what they were saying. And they're saying the same thing. He's wide open. Why is he making that throw? He's wide open. So to cut out the procedural stuff first, let me knock that out first.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple conversation. It is. It's real simple, honestly. It's the line coming to the line. And even in tempo, the guard or somebody has to be the trigger man. So if your center is your trigger man, he needs to let the other offensive lineman know JJ's not giving me the signal yet. I don't know if it's a raise your thigh. I don't know if it's a touch my throat. Whatever it is, they have to get a signal to say, okay, now we're in go mode. Until he does that, let's sit in here. Right now, again, these conversations might have already happened, and the offensive line is just making mistakes. But the fact that he went can, and I'm speaking of a specific one, and both Darisaw and Hawkinson took off to their left, leads me to believe they were some type of up-tempo offense where they were hoping he's going to come to the line and just say go. And then they would just take off and try to outmaneuver the defensive line. And honestly, if he had run the play, if you watch that, they had leverage on that outside edge. The only difference would have been Justin Jefferson or whoever that receiver was would have had to come inside and hook right away the defensive back. I think it would have worked. But again, this is sometimes a young quarterback coming to the line of scrimmage with the ability to kill a play and just overthinking the count. Because if you're thinking like, okay, my center can't reach the nose or my center can't reach the D tackle, maybe just go in and settle in first, do whatever you're going to do, and then can the play or give them the relaxed call. But yeah, I think some of this stuff is a little bit on McCarthy. And Luke's right, though. I think some of it is going up top. Like it comes from the top where if you don't have these guys ready to go, that's a coaching issue. Now, is it the offensive line's coach's job? Is it Keenan McCardell's job? Somebody isn't getting their guys ready. I didn't actually remember who all jumped off the most. I mean, I probably can go here and look.
It was pretty much.
It was like a different guy every time.
Yeah. I think O'Neal had 2, maybe. That was it.
So that leads me to believe if it's everybody, then it goes back to the way they came to the line of scrimmage and set it up. So again, it's got to be on the coaches at that point. I mean, they could probably talk to McCarthy about this too, but yeah, it's got to be the same tempo every time. That's why, like, I forgot who it was. I think it was Cam Newton or somebody else talked about like early in his career, cadence was his issue. Like I was saying a different thing every time versus like, was it Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott added the here we go. Like he started doing that to get himself into that cadence to get ready to go. And then, like he's doing it. Peyton Manning created the Omaha. Omaha's letting you know my cadence is coming. Let's go. Like JJ McCarthy might need to get something. I don't know what it is. It could be khakis, like whatever. He's got to come up with something to let them know, okay, I'm ready to go now. Because it doesn't feel like he has one. I feel like he comes to the line of scrimmage and he just starts. Like there's nothing to alert the team, okay, I'm going now. And so again, that's maybe just a little bit of Kevin O'Connell. I don't think Kevin O'Connell's ever had that in his offense. Maybe we can go back to Kirk Cousins. I thought Kirk Cousins said something like Sunday or something. Like I thought Kirk always said something. And so again, maybe I'm not hearing McCarthy do it, but I don't know if he has one.
2 follow-ups to that and sticking with this conversation, then we'll move on. Either of you can jump in. Does this, when you just watch this game unfold, and like Luke pointed out, it's been consistently week in and week out. Does this go back to like training camp stuff?
Oh yeah. I think this season died in training camp, to be honest. I think they made a lot of mistakes in August that have come back to bite them in terms of what they have chosen to spend their time on or not spend their time on. I don't think they did enough of the basics. I think they've this whole year tried too much to do the fancy subversion on the basics. I think about like when they have a 3rd and 2 in field goal range, right? And they call motion, second motion, fake toss, throwback screen. And it's like, run duo, man. Do your like regular stuff. Like run if you must pass in these 3rd and short situations. If you must, run something that is easy to execute. There is so much that is so difficult to execute. And when you're installing all that stuff, that's expensive time-wise. That takes a long time to put everything together. Time. Yeah. And you only get so much time, right? Like you listen to a coach after they like lose a practice because they did a rules violation or something. They're bummed out about it. That is a finite and valuable resource. And I think they spent so much of it on this tricky dicky nonsense. And I'm not even talking about like the double passes and stuff. I'm talking about all the extra window dressing that they put on everything, that they don't know how to execute their staples. They don't know how to execute a snap count. They just figured out how to execute a huddle. Like they needed to start from the ground up. And I think they got the cart way, way, way out before the horse. And it has caused so many offense. I'm talking specifically about the offense here. I think the defense has got its problems, but it's a different situation. But the cart has gone so far out before the horse. I think that I don't think you can argue against the take. Kevin O'Connell's done a bad job preparing his players this season. Like nobody can argue with that. He's done a horrible job. They're 4-5, and it's an ugly 4-5, and they have 13 penalties a game, and they lose the turnover battle all the time. They're an unprepared team. So next time, you need to just come up with a different plan. I get it. You thought you had this right. You had run all these concepts for the last couple of years. You wanted to go, counterpunch with them because you think everybody knows what you're trying to do now, and you want to play off of that. But you just got out over your skis, and now this team doesn't know how to walk. You've got to walk before you can run, and I think they made a big mistake with that.
To your both your guys' points, it's not like one guy. It starts at the top. 10 weeks into the season.
No, it's general disorganization.
You never want to call for somebody's head. But the past couple of weeks, it's been special teams actually going all the way back to the beginning. Do you have to make a change somewhere in the coaching staff? Is that part of, I guess, the conversations, Ron, that start to take place when you have the same problem consistently week in and week out?
No, I mean, honestly, I think you start looking at the players. I mean, I think the coaches are going to really dive into this film on Monday. I mean, honestly, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm going home tonight and I'm a little bit pissed off at myself, probably. I'm a little bit pissed off at some of the calls. I'm going to look at 2nd and 1. I mean, you brought it up, Luke, that CJ Ham is back and his usage in the run game today was minimal. If not, I think non-existent. It's just like you see Ricard get a 3rd and 1 or whatever run.
Yeah.
Why not give CJ Ham a 2nd and 1 run? He's going to go forward. I don't think CJ Ham's ever gone backwards. And so it's just the simple stuff like that to create more plays. It's almost every time. And if I'm a coach, it felt a little predictable. I feel like the Ravens defensive backs, especially safeties, were like, hey, 2nd and 1, man, let's stay back here. Like Kevin O'Connell's, he's going to do something. And I tweeted out the video of Vince Vaughn from the Breakup movie when he was at the bar with his friend. And he's like, explaining something to him. He's like, hey, don't worry, I got this. And he's like, no, do not do anything. And so I posted that video and just said, the friend that's saying, don't worry about it, you don't know anything, is Kevin O'Connell. And Vince Vaughn in that moment is the entire Vikings offensive staff, on 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1, they're all like, hey, don't do anything. And he's like, don't worry. The less y'all know, the better we'll be. Don't worry. You're not involved in this. I got this. Yep. And then he gets on the microphone and they're like, wait, no, no, seriously, don't do it. And he's like, no, I got this. Don't worry about it. And if they ask, just say you guys weren't there when I put this in. It's so predictable. I mean, everybody in the press box at one point, every play action, you heard guys, you can hear murmurs of oh, play action again. Literally, you can hear the voices of the Vikings beat writers. Everybody, every time he went play action, oh, yep, there's play action again. And it's just why is he doing it so much? And he's putting so much pressure on your offensive line to have to hold the ball or hold their guy for 4 to 5 seconds. And again, a bad Ravens defense that had struggled to this point. Just attack them. You don't need to get tricky with a dead dog. Just go after it. That dog was dead with the Ravens defense. They were not playing well. They were being attacked. And if you watch the Chiefs, if you watch the Lions, they just kind of went simple. They didn't get tricky. When you get tricky is when the Ravens trick themselves into the right position. Honestly, Justin Jefferson's double move corner that I think J.J. McCarthy ended up either throwing it high to Addison. If Justin Jefferson runs a hook, he just goes up and then hooks it 12 yards, he's wide open because both safeties are back he's going to run something else. The corners stay back he's your guy. Nobody covered the middle of the field. All he had to do was run he was going to do a corner and then just hook up. And if he and you guys can't see my hands in the camera, but if he runs, he did this and then straight, instead of coming back and running a corner, just hook and stand right there. He was wide open. And honestly, I think the Ravens did that a couple of times with Zay Flowers. He would run he's going to go deep and boom, he just turned around. And nobody's covered him because everybody's expecting the extra deep route. No, just run a curl. Literally run a 12-yard curl and you're wide open and your name is Justin Jefferson and your catch radius is pretty vast. J.J. McCarthy doesn't have to hold the ball for longer than 3 seconds on that. But, that's the simple stuff that we don't see. And so again, I think it's more fundamental and just getting back to like I think Luke said, it's getting back to the basics. Like if I'm building a rookie quarterback, I'm going to run basic offensive stuff. I'm going to run double hooks with flat routes. I'm going to run double overs with a post and a dig. I'm going to try to keep it real simple concepts for him to learn how to read it high to low. Hey, if the safety's back, you're going to have the dig, wait for it. If the safety's up, you're going to have the post, take it. If both safeties drop, corners drop, you're going to have somebody running a shallow route. One of the guys will hook if it's zone. One of the guys will keep running if it's man. It's pretty simple stuff. But the problem is a lot of these offensive coordinators now, it's their job is to be cute, win games off of all their trickery, and they want to take credit for it.
Lots more.
I think,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to. This has been all year. What Ron has been talking about
Yeah.
all year long. You can find so many examples of them doing some kind of double move or some kind of tricky subversion.
Long
the one that
drawn
kills
out
me,
play, long drawn out routes. Yeah.
the fake bubble screen thing. And O'Connell got a ton of praise when one of these got a touchdown last year. Where you'll be in a bunch, two guys will go out, fake a block, and then they'll run deep routes, usually like post wheel or something, and then you'll have Justin Jefferson usually is the one faking like a bubble screen. You hope everybody comes up on it. They have run the fake more than they have run the bubble screen. It's like, and nobody's falling for it anymore. So what you
gotta
get
keep them honest.
is defenders are not biting on things. They are not reacting to things, which means you can just throw the regular things and it'll work.
Like he never noticed that the Ravens were switching. Like they never ran with the guy they were supposed to. Only time they ran,
all the switch releases just waste time now.
Yeah, only time they ran with them was the Marlon Humphreys deep ball at the very beginning of the game with Jalen Naylor. After that, they said never do that again. If he releases out, you switch, because he got beat on that very first deep ball to Jalen Naylor, and after that they switched it. Like he was like, and Todd Monken probably explained it to him like, hey, look, if I'm offensive coordinator, this is what I'm going to do in this situation. And just like Thielen, trying to do the rub for Aaron Jones. If Thielen turns and just faces the quarterback versus like staring at the guy running at him and then acting like he's defending himself, he's actually wide open, because would have kept running by him. The other guy was running with Aaron Jones. Nobody was guarding Adam Thielen. He could have caught that and ran up the field for probably 10 yards for the first down. So it's just little stuff like that like it's drawn up to be the pick. There's nobody to like the guy. Why would you hit the guy? He was so far behind Aaron Jones. You didn't need to pick him. Like he was beat because of his alignment, and then Adam Thielen decapitates him, and then almost gets a flag for yelling at the referee.
Not
Like
happy.
Losing his mind, it is just absolutely wrong.
100%
Bad and
wrong.
embarrassing.
Pure
I don't think you can use
like-
another word for
It's
it.
like catching your kid on, on cam, and they don't know you got the cameras at home on, and they literally broke a glass, and they're like, it wasn't me, I didn't knock it off the shelf.
How dare you?
And then you show them the video, and they're like, oh, like Adam Thielen's gonna watch that tonight.
I don't know
or
who put water in
tomorrow.
that vodka bottle.
He's
It wasn't me.
That's a totally different punishment. Thielen's gonna watch that, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna play back of him doing a tantrum at some point. Social media is gonna get him, and he's gonna say like, "Oh yeah, I did kind of throw the shoulder into him." Like you
Broadcast
can't
was all
block-
over it.
Yeah, you can't block a guy down the field. Like because we couldn't hear the broadcast, we just kept seeing the replay. And then
they made a huge deal of it. He's going to get in a ton of trouble.
Because
with his
all
coach,
the fans were
probably.
like looking like, what? Like what? Like what are you? Like nobody was on his side. It was like him by him. And then the fight broke out. Like was he yelling at another player or something?
He
like
was
what happened
chirping
with that?
for sure. I thought he was chirping at the refs. They had a bad camera angle, just kind of zoomed in and panned in on Thielen himself. So I don't know where the scrum started, but I thought he was chirping at the refs the whole time.
Yeah, he wasn't chirping at the ref, so he must have said something to one of their players. I think the
Yeah.
guy he hit, because one of them said something like, "That's a cheap shot," and then he started yelling.
Mm.
But then we look up, and like the whole Ravens defense had run over.
Yeah.
But that's again like Adam Thielen lit a fire under them, a la Ray Lewis. Like you give them a reason to be mad again and be nasty and be dirty and say, "Oh, you gonna hit us?" Like okay, and then it just they flipped the switch. Like JJ McCarthy so many times probably could have run for a first down, and he was back there dancing around. I think that last play of the game he could have run for a first down. Like I really do. I think if he had took off to the other way, there was nobody over there on the backside. But
The hope was the Thielen tantrum would kind of light a fire under the Vikings sideline, to be honest. But certainly that was not the case.
No.
Lots more to get into. Biggest turning point from today. That's all coming up right after this.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it, because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Ron, I'm assuming you got to bounce out after this one per usual, but just biggest turning point in this one. I just want your 2 cents here, knee-jerk reaction. 7 and change left in the second quarter. This is a 10-3 ball game. Vikes lead. Ravens steal a field goal with 2 seconds left in the half, and with the Vikes getting the ball, so that kills all that possible double dip momentum. Then third quarter, Ravens just kind of swallowed up every ounce of momentum. All of a sudden, it's 19-10 going into the fourth. Ravens open that quarter up with a Mark Andrews touchdown in the back of the end zone. When you think back, just fresh off this one, just ended, 45 minutes ago. When you think back to that deciding moment, that back-breaking play or drive or game changer, whatever it may be, when was the biggest turning point and why?
So I think the one for me is that second interception. Like that second interception for me, it deflated I'm going from the building itself. Like the fumble was a big one too, but like it felt like that second deep ball, because you see Justin Jefferson step on the guy's leg, you see him fall to the ground, and then you literally just there wasn't even like boos. It was just kind of like disappointment, like I can't believe here we are again. This is a game we should be winning, and our coach did not just throw a simple play to get more yards. Like it's almost like Kevin O'Connell gets over anxious and he can't be patient. Like I feel like at times he lacks patience. He wants to go for the dagger play. JJ McCarthy definitely, there's no question, he has an arm strength. He has the strength of, but you don't need to use it in those situations. The game is at hand. Just play the game. Like I thought the game should honestly, like at 10-9, or even 10-12. I thought the game was going to end like 17-12. Like I thought the Vikings were going to score a touchdown like they did, but they wouldn't have turned the ball over. It would have been a 3 plays, 4 plays punt, 5 plays, 6 plays punt, and they just go back and forth at 10-12 until the Minnesota Vikings, decide to win the game at the end like they did. Just now, at the end of the game, it just became a Jalen Naylor had to make a ridiculous toe tap catch. And then the second time down, again, no timeouts. So now you're asking your rookie quarterback to basically win the game without any timeouts. And he just doesn't know how to manage the clock like that. Like some of these plays should have been killing the clock. Like it should not have been, let's try to get into another play real quick. Mm-hmm. Like the long run, everybody, at least when I played, again, maybe it's changed. This is the 90s, 2000s. But it was always after an explosive in the 2-minute drill, we're going to clock it, because you want your offensive line to come up and have time to relax and get their breath. You don't want them to run up full speed and then have to block again after your quarterback just ran for, I don't even know what he ran for, 30 yards or something. Like, clock it. Like when he does that, clock, and he's running up, everybody run up, let's clock it. Now our coach can talk to us. He can tell us what the next play is. Maybe, hey, let's get out of bounds on this. Like, it was kind of like discombobulated in that 2-minute drill.
It probably wouldn't have mattered, Luke, but 10 seconds left before the half. Again, trying to get some momentum. Wasn't going to work out anyways because Baltimore was going to run out the clock. But that Dallas Turner sack for minus 10 yards.
People were really mad about that call.
Really mad, obviously.
You can't be mad about that call. We got that one last week.
Yeah, clear-cut call for sure. But the fact that you would have had him sacked all the way back to I think that would have pushed it back into Baltimore territory. They were at about the 50, I want to say. Baltimore 48, I guess. I
thought they were still in decent field goal range there.
Yeah,
no, I'm going to go with the obvious one for this. It's got to be the fumbled kickoff. It was 12-10, and you had the ball. Yeah. Like you were down 2 with the ball. You could have absolutely kept grinding this one and made it that kind of game that Ron was talking about, 17-12, try to make something happen. But that one feels like the a little bit of the chickens coming home to roost, because Miles Price has had this season where he's the hero or the GOAT, right? And in all of camp and preseason, Miles Price was not safe with the football. He was catching them funky. He didn't have ball security as a runner. He fumbled in like drills. So to just kind of roll with that, and I get it, right? You wanted Rondale Moore to be that guy, and he gets hurt in the preseason, and so you're already not on your plan A. So I get that, but you had a lot of time to get somebody a little more stable in, but he ripped off a couple interesting ones, and you got enamored with it, and this is your punishment now. You have a guy that is not safe with the football, and he's your only returner. They didn't pull him after fumbling twice. If they had a guy to go to, they would have gone to him. So I think that is like very earned in a long-term way, but then it just totally spots one to the Ravens. And I believe they got a 2-point conversion after that too. So like you just spot them 8 points right off, just out of nothing. And then you lose by 8. Like that one feels like really, really important. And for all of the things that we are frustrated about, like some of y'all are ridiculously overreacting in chat, by the way. Some of y'all need to like go outside and like drink some water. But I get how frustrating this one is, but it wasn't like the Chargers game where you just got ripped a new one.
Yeah.
You had all the opportunities in the world to win this game. And to me, spotting the other team a touchdown off of a special teams mistake is like the easiest one to go, okay, let's try to not have that one next time and then see how the game goes.
Isn't it insane?
Before I get out of here,
go ahead,
before
Ron.
I get out of here, Luke. So the one thing I'll say, you brought up, it was the 48-yard line. You were right. Was the pass to Zay Flowers for 27 yards. Then the sack would have put him at the 35. So then that pushes him to, I don't know, 52-yard field goal. So could have been a still
tougher field
chance,
goal, maybe.
Tougher field goal. So you were right there. But, hopefully next week, it'll be a better outcome.
Ron Johnson, appreciate you as always. Check him out on the Ron Johnson Show each and every Tuesday. Give him a follow on X at 3Ron Johnson. He always stops by the Viking Squad Show each and every Thursday as well. JJ McCarthy's day. Let's just look at the box score here. Again, I think they said on the broadcast, we all knew there'd be days like this, 20 of 42, 1 TD, 2 picks, 5 for 48 on the ground. Again, people are going to look at the box score tomorrow and see 2 picks, which, again, we'll get into Jefferson stuff, but Jefferson tripped and fell on I think it was the second pick, right? Not the first, but the second. The first, he was just trying to make a play, probably forced it a little bit. Yeah. But 20 of 42 is the number I'm looking at. The accuracy just got pretty ugly today. What'd you see from him? I guess top to bottom overall, 3rd start ever. Is that right? No. Fourth start ever.
I think he finally crosses 100 dropbacks today.
Is that right? Okay. So again,
he didn't have it going in. I think he got it though.
Small sample size, big picture, but on the micro level, what'd you like? What didn't you like from JJ McCarthy today?
Yeah, I kind of come to the conclusion that the only way to get people to be normal about JJ McCarthy is just take stuff play by play, because most of these plays, the answer is obvious. And if you try to then congregate them into a take, people can't accept a take that's anything other than he's the worst quarterback in the league or he's going to lead us to a Super Bowl. Everything else, people think that you're on the opposite side of the issue and they jump down your throat. So how about we just go play by play with it, right? And that's what I'm going to do over the week. And of course, we don't have time to do every single drop back on this show. But like, okay, the first interception, forced a ball to a post with a middle safety. You just can never throw that ball. And maybe people have tried to argue that like Justin Jefferson should have made a better play. Even if I grant you that, which I'm not sure, it wasn't as easy a play as it maybe looks from the camera angle. But like, even if he does, you're basically saying, oh, Justin Jefferson should have bailed him out from that bad play. Like we all agree it was a bad play. And then the second interception, it's one-on-one. It's a totally different situation. And he tries to throw it a little further to the inside to give Justin Jefferson a chance to kind of break it off and make some separation at the end, which is what a lot of these McCarthy passes are. And when it works, it's really, really beautiful. Like the go ball at the beginning of the game to, I think it was Addison, or no, to Naylor. That almost turns into a big, long, it's like 60-yard bomb. That one is a little bit outside of the frame of the receiver. And the receiver basically keeps that cornerback stacked up and separates at the last minute. That's what JJ was trying to do on that post route. Then obviously Jefferson just falls down and then it turns into this hideous looking pick. But like, it's really hard for me to blame JJ for that one. So like, I'll blame him for the first one. I won't blame him for the second one. And you have to do that. You have to just say one and one. You cannot say 2 bad picks or 2 picks, but they didn't count or what. You have to just take everything play by play. And that's the only way you're going to come up with anything other than a normal thing. But to your point, Luke, with the completion percentage, like that's never going to be the stat that I like judge a quarterback on, but we can just look and say that the accuracy was bad. And I'd rather do it that way, right? He's just sailing a lot of these high. And
Is it dropping the elbow again, like we saw versus?
No, I think he's just juiced, man. I think the game's
juiced.
just getting to him, or maybe the Brady's thing about the tip of the ball or whatever. But like, I think the comeback effort and like he was forcing the issue. It felt like somebody who was trying to be Hercules and take the whole game into his own, and he needs to just get the ball off to people who can do stuff with the ball after the catch. Of course, that guy is Justin Jefferson, and you know, he had a truly dreadful game. I don't think we have to sugarcoat it. It was a really bad day. But so some of those, you know, you trust Justin Jefferson and that trust is not repaid, and you go, okay, what are you supposed to do? Not trust Justin Jefferson? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. If this is going to be the way he is for the rest of his career, probably not. This one feels like an outlier compared to all the other history, but I'm sure people are trying to trade him to Cincinnati now for 2 third-round picks or something.
A guard in a conditional second. Check this out. Target-wise, Jefferson and Addison combined today. 23 targets, 7 catches, 72 yards. Again, JJ by himself, 12 targets, 4 catches, 37 yards today. Coach's corner, I know we kind of touched on the KOC, the offensive procedural penalties, 8 false starts today, all starts at the top. How about the side of the ball that actually kept the Vikings in this one? Brian Flores against Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was not in particularly Lamar Jackson today, right? 1 touchdown, 0 picks, 17 of 29 though, buck 76 through the air. It's not like they dominated on the ground until those final 6, 7, 8 minutes, I think, when the defense kind of got worked down with Derrick Henry. He had 9 for 36 on the ground. But just overall, kind of, what were you most impressed with, I guess, like, with Brian Flores, again, doing it 2 weeks in a row against what we talked about on Monday and Thursday on the Squad Show? This is a completely different animal. This is not Jared Goff anymore. This is Lamar Jackson. What did you like about Brian Flores? Just kind of blueprint, and then how they kind of attacked him today?
One of the hardest things to do against Lamar Jackson is to keep those rush lane disciplined.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it against Hurts. They didn't do it against Herbert. They did do it against Lamar Jackson, so they managed to limit some of that rushing. He ends up with 36 on the ground. Some of that's designed.
Yep.
Like, that's not. We'll take that.
A long of 8, no explosives.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
Not letting that get into the secondary, and that's rush lane discipline. That's the D line doing a good job, and the coverage doing a good job, so that he can't just sit back there and deal, right. But again, with the defense, I find myself being harsher than everybody else. Like,
Sure.
I think this game was fine considering the expectations and who you were playing, but I can't be like, they got one on
No
the Ravens.
turnovers,
Like,
only
they
one
were in the red
sack.
zone like 6 times, and
Yeah.
one of those was free, and there was a couple other short fields and stuff. But like, they still let up some long drives and kind of up and down day is
Yep.
what I have to say about the defense. Which against the Ravens is acceptable. I'll take that. And you knew they were going to get some, but unfortunately, I think in doing like they played very sound, but they didn't play very aggressively at all, especially in the secondary, and were not able to generate a turnover. Some of that was luck. They had a lot of batted passes falling harmlessly to nowhere, and on a different day, that thing goes right into the lap of your linebacker. And, you know, a couple of fumbles that go out of bounds, that kind of thing. But considering that, I think the Vikings did get pretty unlucky, especially on defense, and especially with some of the calls. It's a day that I'm not going to like harp on, but I'm also not saying it's a banner day for them. They did, you know, this one's not your fault, and you get the gift of, we're probably not going to talk about you a lot this week.
Last one real quick, then we got to go to segment 3 here. Mr. Mayer, the batted passes seems like maybe a result of JJ rocketing passes, kind of flat-footed, telegraphing passes. 13 pass deflections. Now, again, it's not all at the line of scrimmage, but it did feel like there was a lot of pass deflections at the line of scrimmage. Again, just a little too juiced up. Did you notice anything, I guess, because you watch all the film, did you notice anything, I guess, from a mechanic standpoint, rushing passes, staring down guys, whatever it may have been?
Yeah. I think there's 3 reasons that you can put on a quarterback for a batted pass, right? 'Cause sometimes it's a pass batted because a lineman gets blown up. I don't think that that's the case this time. One is you're staring at it, right?
Yeah.
And again, because of what we were talking about earlier in the show, these routes take a long time. There's a double move and a loop-de-loo and a do-si-do and everything. And all of this takes a long time, and that's critique I've had of O'Connell for all 3 years he's been here. No, this is the fourth. But when you have to basically wait for that stuff to happen, you probably want to be manipulating with your eyes a little more. You can't just stare your eyes at the first read and watch it, because the D-line says, oh, this one's coming up my lane. Oh, I got this. And now he's like ready and he's keyed in. And then your throwing motion, McCarthy's throwing motions hasn't been the tightest. A common thing for young quarterbacks is, and it tightens up as they get older, but it's a little bit longer, so you have time to get the pass up. And then, yeah, some of these you just want to get a little bit of air under it. And he's still a little bit trying to bullet pass everything. It's certainly not as bad, and he has shown that the touch throw is a club in his bag, and you still just kind of want him to get a little bit up and over those guys so that you're not just trying to fire it into all the hands and all the helmets and all the everything. And if you do want to do that, you've got to play the way that like a short quarterback plays, where it's like part of their process is finding the exact right launch point so that you have the lane to get that out so that everything doesn't get batted down. But like that was like Russell Wilson was always super good at that despite being short. So like you got a lot of different, and I think it takes 3 different reasons when you get, 9 passes batted down over 2 games or whatever it's been. It can't all happen because of the same thing. There's a lot of different things happening and they all should be fixed.
Plenty more to come. What we loved, what we hated. That's all coming up right after this. Today's episode brought to us by Ripple. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow your teams down. That's not SaaS. That's just sad. Software as a disservice, right? And that's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, finance, you name it, they got it. It's all in one place. They've now helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Right now, you're getting 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. That's Rippling, RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNFL. Rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, let me ask you this. What we loved, what we hated. So much was made, rightfully so, about the emergence, the breakout of Jonathan Allen last week and Javon Hargraves. I'm wondering what you saw from them today as far as stopping that run. Again, Derrick Henry, I'm not going to say quiet, but held in check for most of the game until, again, things started to unravel there towards the middle of the fourth quarter and so on. Right. But defensive line, again, specifically, I'm talking about the 2 guys you decided to spend a lot of money on and not pay somebody, just for example, like a Cam Bynum, right? Didn't get the production. We're all banging the table. What's going on? Hargraves losing snaps. All of a sudden, it's only week 3, week 4. But a lot of momentum was built last week. Did you see anything carry over to this week?
It felt like the same stuff that we've always seen. Like, they definitely did better at like gap discipline and especially rush lane discipline. It's super easy for these guys, especially when you're Jonathan Allen, you've been to a million Pro Bowls. It's super easy to be like, no, I got this up the B gap, even though I'm supposed to be the A gap.
Right.
And if you do that, but you're a step slower than you're used to because you're a little bit long in the tooth, then suddenly the quarterback gets away from you. And I think they did a better job. Just do your freaking job. Mm-hmm. That's what the whole message to the team needs to be. It's just everyone just do what you need to do. Call something that everybody can execute, and this stuff will work. But they can't execute in a lot of ways. But one other thing that I will say is didn't miss Theo Jackson at all, did you? He was out with a concussion this time.
Yeah.
Fabian Moreau gets a bunch of snaps.
You didn't think about
plays
that.
Fine. Thing works. I think Theo Jackson has been a pretty big liability all year long. Sure. And he goes out, they play more 3 corners, and it works out. You just have to have 3 corners that are semi-viable. And one of those guys being Fabian Moreau is definitely a concern I have in the long term, but it worked out okay this time. Maybe you should roll into the season with more than 4 on your active roster next time, Kwesi.
If only we had talked about that during training camp.
Did anybody talk about? I got yelled at so much for the offseason. I'm going to be so annoying.
As you should. No, I think the other thing too I'm thinking about is, JJ McCarthy had been sacked at least 5 times in all 3 starts. He's only sacked once. Now, again, some of this is his scrambling ability, but last week you got the O'Neal-Darisaw combo back. Obviously, that made a huge impact. Seems like this is probably your starting 5 if healthy, barring a Ryan Kelly comeback with all the concussions. We'll see how that plays out. But
He's working
only
back.
one sack.
He should be back in the next couple weeks, I think.
All in all, offensive line play, what did you think about them? And again, going from averaging 5 sacks or more per game for JJ down to 1.
Again, this is a play-by-play thing, right? Because like sometimes Brian O'Neill just takes an L and you got pressure or something.
Well, again, everybody had a false
McCarthy,
start today as well, and there's things to pick up for sure.
Everybody's super angry about McCarthy because they looked at the box score and decided they have an opinion now. What he did, I think, in the pocket made the O-line look a lot better than they were. I thought he did a great job of elevating the O-line when they would get beat and finding, again, those little pocket movements that you always want, that Sam Darnold was great at and JJ was great at in college. Things are a little bit faster and fly a little heavier now. So keeping that together and just step up a little bit, step to the side a little bit, rescue the angle. He's always had a really nice instinct for. It's kind of a hockey thing, where you just kind of want to be behind your color, right? And get a color, get your own teammate in front of you and the defender. And he's always been really nice at that. So this is like a strength of his that I think will carry him very far, especially during the tumultuous early days, where you can buy a little bit more of that time if it takes you a little bit longer. I thought he did a nice job of that. In terms of how, like Brian O'Neill had a day to forget, I thought. I don't think Blake Brandel had a ton of huge problems, but obviously with 8 false starts, you got to look at the center's role in that as well. So otherwise, I don't know, hard to see individual performances live. I'll have to slow that down and get back to you next Thursday.
For sure. Last week, just talking about injuries too, thinking about the offensive line again, saw the impact of Van Ginkel. Obviously, he was huge. He made a couple nice splash plays. Still kind of limited in the snap count. Going to be interested to see how much he actually played. But O'Neal and Darisaw playing together. Return of CJ Ham today as well. Any injuries of note we should touch on just before we move on? Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah, Jonathan Grenard going out with a
correct?
shoulder injury in a lot of pain. Medical tent, towel over his head and into the locker room. So I'm pretty worried about that. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if O'Connell is at the podium yet, but I'm sure he'll have an update there. But I'm pretty worried about that being some kind of separated shoulder, torn pec, or I hope it's just it was a stinger AC joint sprain. He'll be back in 10 days or something like that.
Somebody talked about injury regression though as well for the Vikings.
Did anybody get really mad about that?
Yeah.
About I mean, look, with somebody like Grenard, like he's not coming off of injuries like that.
Right.
Ryan Kelly, you specifically incurred that risk. It's a much different thing. Again, you can't do these blanket takes on all this stuff because it's different every situation.
Stock up, stock down. I'm trying to find a stock up. It was Jalen Redmond like 3 weeks in a row. How about Jalen Naylor?
How about Naylor?
That's got to be a career day, right? 5 for $124 on 6 targets, averaging almost 25 yards a clip, long of 62, 1 tug in there as well. Adam Thielen actually got a little bit of run there as well, 3 targets. He's just been non-existent, playing like 10 snaps a game, 2 catches, 16 yards. Again, nothing to write home about. I'm just thinking about the snap count. But Jalen Naylor had to be a big winner today. Any other kind of just big winners or just nice splash plays or just guys who's kind of stuck out in a good way today before we get to the losers?
I mean, Van Ginkel had a big day.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Cashman's got 25 tackles in the last 2 weeks. Not that tackles are a stat.
Not for nothing. Yeah, I think the defense kind of shoring up in the last couple of weeks, despite going up against 2 of the most prolific offenses in the league, and in getting Van Ginkel back for that, like you can kind of feel that impact for sure. Unfortunately, the thing about the defense is when you don't get any turnovers, it's not easy to answer this because nobody made that play.
Yeah,
there was a lot. I mean, I thought Hargrave was in the backfield like just about every other play, and Redmond was in the backfield a lot. And those are great, but you need someone to clean that up, right? If you get that penetration, there was one where Hargrave just blows up his guy and gets in to the backfield, but every other player is getting washed out, and it's super easy for Derrick Henry to just sidestep into the next gap where nobody is, and you win. That's the tough thing about the defense, but like they made enough plays to keep the Vikings in it and did probably about as well as you hope.
Absolutely. Again, against a Lamar Jackson, back healthy, they're trying to get hot and go on a run as well. They were 1-5 when Lamar came back last week. Not a simple task for sure. Jalen Redmond, 8 tackles as well. Dallas Turner was so close to a solid game. He had a nice pass deflection as well outside of the wood.
That could have been one of those picks.
Yes. Yep. That bounced very, very close in the circumference of a couple purple jerseys as well. Biggest loser, day to forget, Miles Price. Touched on that one. TJ
Price.
Hawkinson, is he still just chipping more than maybe people realize? 2 targets, 2 catches.
He's been
what
the check
happened to
down
the
a
old
lot.
Hawk? Yeah.
Yeah. He's been the check down. This is what tight ends do. I don't know what people think.
Well, you watch a couple Brock Bowers games. You watch
right.
a
They
Trey
want him to be
McBride
Kyle
game.
Pitts and running like, and he used to do that. He used to run, these 15-yard digs, and he used to be really awesome. I don't since his injury, he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
And he's been a more normal tight end role, but he's like the outlet, like everybody else's tight end is. I don't know what people. I don't know. People have say stuff about him that just never makes sense to me. But I think it's because they traded 2 draft picks, so he's either Antonio Gates or we have to fire the GM.
Same people traded 2 draft picks in their dynasty fantasy league as well for TJ probably a couple years back.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Not getting their return. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, what we'll be talking about tomorrow. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by FanDuel. The NFL season, it's here. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer right now. New customers, you bet just $5. If your bet wins, you're getting $300 guaranteed. Why I love FanDuel. They got everything. Player props, same game parlay, jumping in live as the action unfolds. That's my personal favorite. You name it, they got it. It's so quick. It's so easy. And it is the best way to add a little bit more juice, a little bit more enthusiasms to your Sundays. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now. Go visit FanDuel.com today to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Again, you're getting $300 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. All right, so what's the A topic tomorrow morning once we let the dust unsettle, right? Things are always raw, emotional right after the games, but try to take some emotions out of the equation tomorrow morning on the squad show. What's the biggest talking point after what we just watched unfold?
I mean, it's probably going to be people who looked up the box score trying to argue with people who watched the whole game. And that'll maybe come around with Jefferson, will come around with McCarthy. It's going to be McCarthy probably every week, right? But I think for me, the biggest thing is watching what has happened with Justin Jefferson and JJ McCarthy, because he's had 2 bad games now out of 4 with McCarthy. He was bad in that Chicago game too, by his own admission. And 3 because he was bad in the Atlanta game too. So rough. Justin Jefferson and JJ McCarthy, that connection is not there. But it's also, I mean, I can see it in chat. People want a head to roll, whether it's a sacrificial lamb like Wes Phillips, or some, assistant or something, or it's a position coach. People want a head to roll. I think that's a little extreme for 4 and 5. And I think generally I prefer to maybe be a little more creative with problem solving. You have an issue that is causing you to not do well. You can probably find a way to solve that. That isn't just, this person just isn't capable of doing the job we thought they were capable of 10 days ago. Guess you got to lose your job now. I never really go into that. I think you can probably come up with, fix the false starts. You can probably come up with, like Ron said, a text message you can send tonight. And then you don't have to fire anybody and the problem is fixed. But, obviously things are really emotional right now.
A lot of emotions going on in the chat, which, by the way, appreciate all you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Any thought? Has this crossed your mind? What point do we have to reach, if any, to pull the Andy Reid and I guess hand the play calling duties over from KOC to somebody like Wes Phillips? Just seems like this is his baby, man, and he's got such a tight grip, as he absolutely should. But at what point? How much further do we need to get, I guess? Or what does that need to even look like, I guess?
I don't. You could lose the next 5 games by 50 and still not think it's a good idea. You need to think it helps. Well, what if you think it would make things worse, right? Do you want? You're asking, hey, what about Wes Phillips, who's never called plays before? Let's try him. Is that what we're doing? I don't think that makes things better. And that's the thing about, fire a guy, make a change. Does it help or does it feel good? Which one do you want? Which one do you care about? I think changing play calling would feel good more than it would help. And it's costless for Kevin O'Connell to just come to the realization that the simple stuff is better. And he even talked about it with after that Browns game with Wentz, the power of a nice, easy completion. And one of the best drives the Vikings had, it was like, smoke, flat. It was a quick pre-snap adjustment into something and finding an easy thing to execute and then executing it. And finding that is important. there's so much resource, so much time, so much real estate put into deceiving that they're doing stuff that they can't do. Kevin O'Connell could just stop doing that at any time. It's free. Doesn't even cost you a draft pick. You can just be like, I'll call different stuff now. Do we think that he is physically incapable of calling simple plays? No. He can decide to push the button anytime he wants. Or he can give it to Wes Phillips and ask him to push the button. Doesn't really matter. The button needs to be pushed.
Vikings become just unhinged. This is gonna be a fun episode tomorrow morning on the Viking Squad show. I just want to say that. 3 turnovers, 12 penalties at home versus the Ravens. What? 27-19, that's your final. Just disgusting. There's gonna be days like this, they say. 4-5 now on the year. Bears won today. Looked like another last second or last minute drive victory for Caleb Williams again in the wind over there in Soldier. Lions pouring it on versus Washington without Jane Daniels. Packers play, I believe, tomorrow night versus the Eagles. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game again. Check out Ron every Tuesday, Ron Johnson Show. Luke Braun always doing big things over on Locked On Vikings, all the daily content. Like and subscribe. And again, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Another episode breaking it all down with Sam Ekstrom, our guy hosting. Until then, thanks for watching. And